live. And Q
Hello.
Jack.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Drone Out. Yeah,
You can do it.
the world's gone a bit crazy. You are listening to Let's Drone Out. Today, you are joined by the love of my life, my ex-wife, my little Tony.
Bonjour.
The sexiest man alive, NJ Tech.
Hello, everyone. Okay.
Um,
Getting weirder each week. It's all right.
everyone's favourite curry kitten.
Hello.
Can we get a disclaimer, please?
Yes, I found it today. Legal notice: any views expressed by any guest on this show are personal and may not reflect the views of the host or any participant of the show. Thank you. Carry on.
And it's now safe to introduce Andy RC.
Hello, everyone.
And the wizard behind the curtains, working all the controls, Andrew/Frank.
Good evening.
Oh, how I enjoy skipping down your yellow brick road, and I'm bright until I fly. Hopefully, we can try and cheer everyone up.
I think we
How
should start
is everyone?
today's episode by getting in the chat. We could do a little game of. We're trying to work out, has Jack shaved his head? So we just need to some yes and no's in the chat, and
it's
we'll
the
work
front
out a rough
bit, isn't it?
percentage.
Where's the front bit? Like, it's got no fringe. It's all. It's like
there's nothing padding it out. Like you think
no.
that
It's like
they're away from
All
the
I'll
job.
say is if I was ever going to shave my hair, A, I'd let Tony do it, B, it would be for charity.
yeah. I think also. I
I've got a
think.
headband on.
I think we probably have some of it in the post at least as well.
Oh, mate.
By now.
I'm so sorry about that.
How much do you shave? How much would you need? And
I
what
don't know,
charity
probably
do you wanna do?
a grand for charity.
Grand. That's quite a lot, Jack. I thought you were going to say 100 quid.
Do you know how
Take
many
me years.
hookers Tony could hire and then kill for that sort of money?
You know what I mean?
Oh, Jesus
I thought we got off
Christ.
that by now. We've
Come on.
gone from there.
Nothing is sacred.
Apparently not. But NJ has been doing some like reviews of some things that aren't tortures.
You what?
Well, I haven't actually done a review as such, but I am going to do I haven't talked about the latest build that I have on my channel properly, so I'm going to do that. My 6S build, which I love very much.
Success or success?
Actually, we can further that joke. 6S with a success flight stack in it.
Nice.
Is that how you say it? This is the
It's
iFlight
that
one, and I
sex,
always get stuck
think.
on it. And I'm like, is it six? Are they trying to say success?
I
but
think
doing
they
a funky
were.
spelling or what?
Yeah,
No, it's
Yeah.
sex at the end. I'm afraid.
yeah. It's basically sex at the end. Yeah, success.
Sex.
Yeah, that's Patrick's humor, I think.
Yeah. From
Mr.
iFlight.
iFlight.
That's it.
Yes, and it's actually got quite. It's one of the V1s. It's a pretty old version, just one that I had.
Is
and
it
I thought-
F7 or when you say V1s? Like
It's
right,
it's the F4 stack.
yeah.
With the it's still BL Heli 32, and obviously I'm not surprised because there are physics reasons why it does work, but micro stacks work beautifully with 6S, of course.
Yeah.
The up volts down amps principle. It's all good. So it's been I've probably put I don't know about 30 packs I think through this so far, and it's been absolutely wonderful. So this is the Halo RC Osiris. This is actually a prototype frame because the front and the tail have been actually a little bit longer on the production model, so this one's a little bit stubbier. But this is actually the 6-inch arms with a 5-inch setup. And there's super skinny arms, which I like. Does a better job getting out of the way of the airflow. And nice, thick and strong. It's just a brilliant bit of engineering. I always sing Chris's engineering praise, but he's done such a great job with this. I've crashed it a bunch too. But yeah, very, very happy with it. It's a wonderful thing, slowly converting over to DJI. It is, yeah. Yeah, it's got the air unit in the back, and Chris. The good thing, Chris always puts up all the printable files for these. So yeah, the camera
I like the colours.
mount, the GoPro mount. It does a session mount as well. I think there's a few different options there, and then this little caddy at the back. I think most people now building this would probably, if they were scratch building, just go with the Vista instead of going with the air unit. But I've got 2 air units, so I wanted to use them up. But there's a caddy for that in the back, and then a mount for the air antenna. And I've got the TBS Nano Crossfire in there, out on one arm there.
What
and
props
then-
are those, MJ? They look like the Nazgul ones, but are they
So-
Azure?
These props I've been running for a while now, which I absolutely love. These are the Johnny FPV props,
Which are Azure, aren't they? Yeah.
which are Azure. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why they probably got a little bit
I
of that
just-
hallmark about them.
Yeah. I just put those on my friend's quad, and it flew really well. And the success.
They're so smooth. Yeah, they're super smooth. They just they're rigid in the right places, so they are very, very stiff at the near the root of the blade, and then there's a nice amount of flex at the tip. So because they're more about the flight dynamics than they are about durability. When you crash them, you'll probably then need to. I mean, they'll bend. Some people just bend them back. I can't do that. I have to. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't.
Come on, man! You've got hyper smooth now. You don't need to. You don't need to replace props anymore or worry about
just
any
fly
of that.
out of it. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, these just fly so beautifully. And there's a 6S. I'm running a 6S Ready Eddy Shadows, which are their monster 6S 1250 milliamp 100C. And with that, the very heavy GoPro Black. And the air unit and everything else in it, it's just under 700 grams. So it's not light. It's a beast, but that's the thing with 6S. It just does not care.
Those Johnny FPV props I found very efficient as well.
They're great, yeah.
It was a 4S rig that I built, and with an 1800 milliamp 4S, we were getting like 8-minute flight times out of it. Pretty impressive, and that was with the DJI system as well. So pretty impressive.
The way I fly, I'm getting a good 4 minutes before I need to bring it in and land. So it's definitely working well, and just infinite amount of power. The motors on these, by the way, just so we mention those, these are the slightly older Zing, one of the early ones, but still a great motor.
That's the people still. I think they're still widely used. Those motors, are they what Stator are they?
So these are 2207 1700 kV, which then at 6S brings this to around a mid kV build, sort of mid low. It's not like a super crazy RPM. But what I was interested in was how this was going to perform compared to my 4S Archon build. Because that I'm running 2750 kV on 4S, and I thought there'd be quite a bit of a difference in terms of flight field between a very high kV setup and the same props, and then a lower kV setup but with more oomph because you're on 6S. And the flight fields are very similar.
Yeah,
but both work great. But it's just that absolute. I'll tell you what it is. What I kind of really when I speak to people about 6S, the best way to describe it coming from 4S is it's not that, because the way batteries are now, battery density and the amount of amps they can sustain at a given voltage is generally very good if you don't buy a NAF brand. They're so good that you can do those crazy maneuvers where you're really sustaining full throttle and it's not really a problem. And there's not going to be that much feel difference between 6S and 4S then. But what it is, it's after you've done that crazy powerful maneuver and you get it wrong a bit, and then you need extra power to suddenly recover because you've messed up the powerful maneuver. That's where the 4S starts to sag. So you've had your burst power and now you've messed something up and you need to jam it again for recovery. And that's where I find the 4S will start to go.
You never mess it up.
Well, I mean, obviously, I was looking for my crash footage the other day. Yeah,
have you seen what the latest trend is though on 6S NJ?
I'll just just
Oh, go
quickly,
on.
just to finish my thread of thought. But yeah, it was just that thing with 4S is there is a point where 4S will start to give up on continuing that amp draw, and 6S you can go back in at full throttle and it just delivers the same ultimate power, and it does that pretty much right the way to the end. So you've got a very harsh shelf on 6S. When it gets to the end of its usable voltage, it just sort of goes to sleep and you'll fall out the sky.
Yeah.
So, but the usable power is incredible. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, well, there's like a new, I don't know how new this trend is, but I've noticed a lot of people buying high kV motors. So, like what we used to, was it like 2600, 2700 kV,
Mm-hmm.
and then putting a throttle limit on them and then sticking 6S on them. So you can either put a 4S or a 6S lipo on it and have like a different profile and stuff like that.
I mean, that'll work. I'm not sure that that's the most efficient way of using a motor.
I was thinking, I've been
a
thinking
throttle
about this
limit
a lot.
on it. You'll get a less efficient use on when you're using it on the higher volts. So things will probably get hotter, and I'm not thinking about I don't that's not the best way, but it's fine. You could do it. The other way around it would be to, if you had a setup like this, which I guess most people don't, is I also switch this out to 6-inch bi-blades and then go 4S. So I drop the volts and go to I'll be obviously running 7.2 volts per RPM lower on the motor, so the kV will go down, and therefore I can switch this out for a 6-inch bi-blade, which is obviously nice and efficient. And then I've got a nicely geared 6-inch long ranger with 4S. So that's quite a nice reason for running 6-inch arms and a 5-inch setup that's interchangeable that way. So there's a couple of ways to skin the rabbit, right?
Yeah, sure.
So NJ, on the DJI thing, you've obviously got the GoPro there as well. How is that an absolute necessary? So it's just the case, although the air unit obviously records, it's really a case of DJI is good for the goggles, but if you want the best, smoothest recording, it's always going to be the GoPro.
Yeah. Come on, put it on your nipples. You know you want
quite
to.
fug-like, Jack.
Put it in your hood.
There we go. That's all he's got. I just needed an excuse.
Not the oh god.
I'm going to rob a store.
I told you he'd been to rob a convenience store, and he's robbed fireworks by the looks of it.
Oh dear.
What were we talking about?
Thank you, Win.
Thanks, Win.
So Curry,
Rich people are the best.
What I think in terms of the footage, I think it's very, very usable. Really quite good. The air unit recording, and the bit rate's decent enough. I think Andy's mentioned it before. It's sort of comparable to a Session 5. I still think it's not quite as nice. That's kind of eye of the beholder stuff. And obviously you've got to manually mesh the super view if you want to get that out of that super view warping. You've got to put that user plug-in to get that. Or use the old GoPro Studio. There's links where you can get those so that you can drop the file in and apply the filter.
No, there's not. No, there's no link.
Didn't do that.
I'll tell you,
theoretically.
what I say about it is, I think the way I say it's comparable to a Session 5. I don't think the bit rate and the resolution obviously doesn't go as high as a Session 5, but I think it makes up in dynamic range. I think even
dynamic range is awesome. Absolutely.
Dynamic range is better than the current Hero line. It just doesn't have the stability, the super view, and all of that, and the sound, of course, as well, is nowhere near on par. So that's where you need to stick a GoPro.
Agreed. But the Hero 8 has been. I skipped quite a few generations. I think the last one I had was a 5. It was the 5 series GoPros. So I've now, since having those, now gone back to GoPro 8 Black, and that's been amazing.
Thanks, Spider. Zero, sorry.
The only annoying thing with the
Zero.
8 it's a different size. So all of my I've got loads of Hero 7 5 to 7 mounts that don't fit. So that's very annoying. But other than that, it's great. Yeah.
Swallow it.
No, don't.
Fire eat it. Put your hood back up before you catch light.
Never cross the streams.
No. Well done. Thanks, Zero, again.
So there's my 4S Archon with the GoPro 5 on it, just to give you an idea. So that's with the 2750.
Yeah.
What's the stator on this? Is 20? Oh, I don't know. 2306. Okay, so very comparable stator in a different direction. But yeah, you can get both of them.
Yeah, I think I just slightly prefer the 23 stator to the 22 for freestyle. I find that I find them just a little bit smoother, and I don't know why. I mean, maybe it could be me. But yeah, I prefer 2306 because I've got an iFlight DC5 with the 2207. Those exact ones, the 1750 kV.
It's a weird thing. It's a feel thing, isn't it? Because I'm 2207. There's just something in there that I prefer, but I know everyone's got their own preference for one of those two. But they're sort of same sort of power. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I just think maybe because you're a smooth flyer in general, but for me they just feel a little bit more twitchy, and the 2.3 stator seems to just iron that out for me a little bit. Yeah, here we go. What Slider FPV saying? 2306 for freestyle and 2207, 2208 for racing. I say that because you tend to find the higher the stator, the more sort of performance you get, the more like instant punch. That's what I find personally. But you get more voltage sag the higher the stator as well, I find.
Yeah, I find for me, I've always found it's you have a bit more instant torque from a taller stator than lowering the stator and widening it. So they're achieving torque in different ways, but the 2207 just works for my thumbs.
Well, you've got very steady thumbs, so perhaps that's why. So you get the best of both worlds then. Where's Jack gone?
He was on fire.
He's on fire.
Now he's lost all of his hair.
Yeah, yeah. But on Friday we had the AMA, last AMA of the group. And Andy doing his AMA. So,
did you do one, Andy? I thought we'd still got one.
We've all done one now.
Oh, okay, cool.
I need to get back. I haven't seen NJ's. That's the only one I missed.
They're all in the Discord. Maybe we should repost all of them in the AMA channel, one after the other, so everyone has all of them to go and look at. FYI, if you haven't already, get in the Discord. It's nice and active. Lots of tech support always gets answered in there, and there's a place to post your videos so we can watch them, etc. Come and join us in the Discord.
What's it called?
There is a link down there somewhere.
Okay. Well done.
I'm looking on my screen, looking where you're pointing, and just not there. Probably need some context there.
On YouTube, there will be one down there.
Good.
Yeah.
In the description, I think they call it in technical terms.
Have you managed to get out yet, Frank?
No.
Flown in? Indoors, out, off your balcony?
I've been still working on this Bicopter thing. It's still kind of a bit of a.
Let's have a look.
I've not seen that.
It's far too brief.
Well, an idea.
Make Frank big.
That.
So it's right, okay.
So it's thrust vectoring. There's a little thrust vectoring thing that I've adapted from David Vinderstall's tricopter servo tilt, but made it slightly smaller so it fits for the 1306 motors that I had lying around. and using some David Vinstall fancy shiny servos.
Explorer, so
And then
So in theory, if you get the thrust vectoring working well enough, you could remove the need for combining the ailerons and rudder elevator, right? You could just have them as ailerons and have the rudder and have not the rudder, the elevator operate from thrust vectoring.
Well, what I want to do is completely remove these servos eventually once I've actually made it work. So the plan at the moment is, because I've got an F765 Maytech wing board around here somewhere, but I just got a bit bored of trying to make that work. Well, I mean, I didn't try very long, but I decided it was more faff than it was worth. So I've just got a 6-channel radio for the moment, just to, because my I'm not sure what it's gonna do when you're flying along, like whether it'll have any glide slope, how controls would work if it was just on the thrust vectoring, like with the drag of the props still mean that you've got control even if you're on essentially no thrust. I don't know how that will work. So
not if you take away the control surfaces.
Well, that's what I mean, is that then the actual props themselves are going to be some drag. So if you're moving them there, you're still moving the center of pressure.
Yeah, but they're right in the center, aren't they? And your surfaces are normally control out there, not this little bit here.
Well, but it's a big chunk of drag, isn't it? Not
yes. Yeah. Yes, you're talking about the moment, but what you can, if you were to actually are you going to be able to, as well as move them up and down together, can you split them?
Yeah.
So, right.
Absolutely.
So in that case, even though it is from quite far in, it should still, I think, have enough torque to be able to slowly. Yeah, you could potentially fly that controlless without control surface. I mean, as in no ailerons. But the only thing I would say is you've got to have a minimum to negate that drag thing, is to have try and have a minimum RPM that they run at. So at least they're neutral to whatever they need to be neutral to whatever is just above the stall speed. And then that should work.
Oh, well, that's not gliding, really, is it?
I need to see this in action. You have to finish this now.
I'll try and get some footage, but yeah. So
this sounds awesome.
My plan is to take it up a few mistakes high, just on ailerons and just with motors staying still. Because that's the other question, is like, I'm not convinced that these are going to have the same rigidity of the nice RC Explorer injection molded ones. I don't know if this is going to if there's going to be too much slop in this mechanism. So I'm interested to see whether even just holding it level, so it's not thrust vectoring, it's just normal thrust with 2 motors and just flying it on the ailerons and the control surfaces, whether that's just going to be jittering all over the place because the motors are kind of not secured to the main body.
My motor's not secured.
Do you want to tell that story?
I was just
my God.
That cafe.
Andrew, I swear, if you had a channel, if you had a YouTube channel, and you
it'd be massive.
you'd be massive. You would. As a channel, you'd doing stuff like this.
It's got like 20 subscribers. You need to do, but he said last week, he doesn't like doing the end bit. Doesn't like doing
the
same as me.
Editing it.
This bit, I started drawing that up ages ago. Like I've got this conversation with David Vinstall about it, where it's
this is
messages from like months ago. Like he's in the time that I've been thinking about this and thinking about putting it together, he's shut his shop down. Like I bought these things when he was still selling them, and that shop no longer exists. So
and he's having a child and everything, and it's a whole new life. He's made millions of meteorite rings by now.
He sent me the link to the files before those files were publicly available on the front page of the website, like they now are. But
I feel sad to think the rocket fist is gathering dust somewhere, and the rocket knife.
You really stole the show, Frank. He loved you more than me. Now
It's not
you've taken
Arsenal,
Painless.
Painless is
You've
gone.
You've
Everyone.
taken David. Everything. Oh dear.
It's all
And all
gone
you've left
now.
me is
Sorry.
with Tony and Andy RC.
Oi,
That's
I've gone now.
all.
Tony,
Ryan,
you
just
were
Andy.
telling your story about your wing that you were trying to fly.
Oh, I got the Cappy rebuilt and tried to fly it again, and so many things were going wrong with it. It was annoying. Me and Jokovic went up the fields a couple of days ago and were flying it because it was such a nice evening. There was no wind or anything. I decided to put a Hero 7 in to see how good the stabilisation is in a wing, and it's bloody good. But yeah, it had so many things. I had to take out some weights from the front of the nose of the plane wing to offset the Hero 7 because I used to run a 4 in it, and it's quite a bit heavier than that. And then, yeah, flying around lovely, and then boop, emergency landing, which I just about pulled off.
Dead stick landing.
Yeah, and the motor had come out, and you know when it comes out and just spins on the wire, it just totally wrecked it. So I had Danny come out from under the stairs and let him take it home and fix it.
So, no problems for you then.
So hopefully it'll be working again when and we're going to test it again when it's not windy or rainy or cloudy like it's been the last couple of days. I don't know when that's coming, when the summer's coming back. Is that it? Have we had it? Has it gone?
Yeah, that was summer, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we had it when we weren't allowed out.
Let us outside and then it rains. I mean,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've got something flyable and then the weather's turned.
Yeah, that's it. Summer was Wednesday last week, apparently, according to records.
Well, that Cappy's long range one, so I'm going to hope to do like a 20-minute. It takes a 5,000. It's 5,000 milliamp 2S, 2100 kV. We probably fly for 20 minutes, hopefully. We'll see.
Cappy, is that a TBS wing? Wasn't there a TBS wing
number one.
called that? Right.
Yeah,
okay.
I've got the one.
They're quite nice, aren't they?
Jack's got the second one, haven't you, Jack? Show us. Is it to hand? Oh, come on. It can't go far. Look how far. Look, your bog's only there.
He's got a point.
It's literally on the floor to his right, near the wank sock.
Oh, dear.
I know why he's not getting it. He's not stuck to the fucking thing, isn't it, Jack?
I think we need to let Tony talk more because
Jack's not answering anyone back today. What's going on?
Behind
No
the
comebacks.
TV. I can go get it, but I'm not wearing any trousers. I am.
I knew there was some fucking reason.
It's behind the thing. It's so
don't worry
big.
about it. It's a podcast anyway, and
I've got it out many times before, so you can cut that, editor, if you want that.
For that at the start.
Now we know the reason why Jack can't get it. We can move on. He doesn't have to get it, I think.
Okay. If that's being cut out, then thinking of other people that have been doing stuff on their YouTube channels of building weird things and should get a load more views. Lurgy in the chat put out a great video recently of
the
biscuit
quad.
literally a biscuit that flew.
Someone post it in the chat. I haven't seen it. I want to see that.
Can we watch it now?
If Lurgy gives you permission and he doesn't copyright strike, then yeah.
But yeah, that was a good video. I
did suggest he should have eaten the quad at the end, but he said it was pretty hard and it may have hurt his teeth.
It was a definite biscuit. It's quite impressive.
It was a biscuit.
Impressive, yeah.
So, Curry, what have you been flying? What have you been doing with yourself?
I actually went outside into the zombie apocalypse to go to the field and fly some stuff. And I flew a bunch of stuff because I went out today. I flew the Sector 132 and I flew the Green Hornet, which is a bit like flying a breeze block, except breeze blocks are more fun.
Is that a Cinewhoop then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
one.
four hair dryers, I thought.
Yeah, so loud. And then today I took out 2 HGRC things. I tested out one of their VTXs and a GPS to make sure that all worked nicely. So I was happy. And then I flew my UZ65 indoors and I fixed the problem with the camera angle. This camera is now flat, which I did by rearranging the VTX, which it's a really stupid design. Basically, it's like they sort of designed the canopy and then they tried to fit the stuff in and said, oh, it doesn't fit in very well. Let's just put it in angles. That way you can't alter the camera. But if you notice, my VTX is now turned around the other way, allowing me to put the camera down so you can see basically your prop stuff. So when you're going very, very slowly, you can see where you're going. Sorry, Tony?
Is this the 1S everyone's raving about at the moment?
This is the 1S.
Really
for me, it was better for me than the Modular. I did watch your video, Andy, although you did only fly outside. Well, mostly outside, and then you compared it to
outside and inside. I like to give it a because I mean there are people that are just flying them in their houses, but there are also people who are racing them. You know, taking them to like in the indoor sports hall. If you would set up a race or something like that, and you're in acro mode, and the thing just pitches out on you, then that's good. So I really liked it flying indoors, flying around the house, great. And if you can fix the camera angle, then even better. But it lacks power if you want to do, I would say, like racing or be outdoors.
I think so. But if you were racing, I don't think you'd go for a 19,000 kV one. You'd always go for the 25,000, which puts you in the Modular or the Beta FPV, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They did one, didn't they? Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, I really like this one because I just like the way it flew. But yeah, that goes nice and slowly now in the house because previously, as you saying, it kind of pointed upwards and it made it really a bit tricky when you're trying to get through stuff because as you're stopping, it was about 45 degrees.
How much are they?
75 quid.
70 quid, something like that, 70, 80 quid.
Do you get any batteries or anything with them?
Get 4 batteries.
Four batteries, and that'd be good to have them when we go away somewhere and all have one and all like set up when we do our thing where we go to Wales or something. And
if we're
LDO now, hopefully.
Yeah, all that.
Never allowed out.
Have the same set up and
stock racing. You mean?
So it's all on the same level.
I'm just watching that video of I didn't realize it was an actual Biscuit that he's put motors on. I've got to ask if he's still got it. Can you finish it off by flying it into a giant cup of tea?
You haven't watched the end of the video yet, have you, NJ?
I'm almost there. Is that what he does?
Keep watching.
Not to what people do to you, are you, NJ?
Wait, I'm almost at the end.
It's so good. How did he attach the motors? I don't understand.
You have to watch the video, won't you?
Play the video on. He says we can. He's put in the chat.
That's so good. I love it. But he needs to fly into a big cup of tea. There's got to be a sequel. Maybe a shortbread copter.
Sequel.
Yeah, Wayne, I just thought though, it's just classic Ishin, that VTX thing. It's the smallest of things that they just don't think about, do they? It's just
it's such a, I mean, how it was lying originally looks stupid because it is literally, if you imagine your control, the base is like this and the flight controller didn't fit, so they put it this way and they shoved a bit of sticky under it and then they put the camera there, and of course then the camera can't lean normally. And actually, what I said in my video is if you bring the camera forwards, there's a notch in the top of the canopy here, so you have to kind of force it past there. So they obviously didn't consider it at all. They just like put it in at that angle. That's good. Nobody will want to move it. Doesn't care. It was classic Ishin. Really, it's just
my further problem with it is that it's 100 milliwatt VTX, so it's like 4 times the power of the 25 milliwatt, but it's still using an SPI receiver. So the 100 milliwatt VTX, whilst is great, bit wasted really. You don't get the range.
I think so, but I was keen for you to try and measure that with your thing, because I didn't think the 25 milliwatts was looking very good at all. I thought that was putting out less of a signal.
On the Mobula 6? Oh, you mean the 20?
On the UZ65. I thought the 25 was a bit wimpy. I didn't think it was putting that much out.
It's even worse then, so it might not even be putting out 100.
I think the 100 is probably like 50.
You guys all want it with a bit of the old, Biscuit bass thing. Ready?
How's the podcast going to like this?
I don't know, right? We can talk over it.
Right, explain what's happening. So the podcast
literally looks like he's rolling a biscuit. He's like laid quad on top of it, and he's cutting around it. So he's like cut it out. He's put it on a baking tray. He's now baking it. Don't know whether he's got some strudels on the go.
He's hot gluing.
How long did you bake it for, Lurgy? To make it extra tough? Did you bake it for much longer than normal?
He said in the chat a very long time, basically.
Vibration dampening on a biscuit. This is a whole new world to me. Oh, and a little mini camera as well.
Somebody should have ate it after.
And then sprinkles, I think. Making it rain delicious sprinkles. I don't know whether we've got the copyright to this song. Is this
No, we don't.
Yeah.
I think the annoying thing about this quad is it flies better than a lot of quads I've built out of proper frames. It's like, well, this looks pretty good actually. If you look at the FPV footage, it's doing all right.
Stuff. That's why.
You're not using that. You're not using that old carbon stuff, are you? We've all moved on from that.
We just hot glue the motors onto the potato. That could have worked. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, you did make a potato fly. So biscuits, potatoes. What else? What's next? Should we put a challenge out? It's like
Marshmallow.
Challenge.
Hang out with Frank. Oh no! Oh, what an animal! We won't spoil the end of it for our listeners.
You just did.
They'd like to go and watch it.
Oh, you mean
Jack's on the ball today?
No, he said
he means on the podcast when people listen.
The podcast, yeah.
I was with you there.
Yeah, I got it.
Tony, I saw mention in the chat that Joker's got this Ishin Mustang that looks pretty cool. Did you get to see that flying, or did you get that?
I've seen someone up our field fly because I was like, "Oh, that's good. I might buy one." Then didn't, and then he did. Crusty sock flying. Yeah, no, it looks really good. I think it's 65 quid that little Mustang, full plane, and it's about that big. 1S. You'd love it, Frank.
Trouble is,
just on a summer evening on LDO. No, I think the UK have got them in stock. The UK Banggood in the UK warehouse. Apparently, it's took a bit longer than 2 days.
UK warehouse? Is it actually in the UK?
Well,
no, probably not. Is it?
No.
I've just thought of another potential problem though for the Biscuit quad. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to leave this alone now. I'm just so amazed by it. If you thought dogs like chasing your quad before, that's really asking for trouble.
That would be good.
Dog biscuit quad.
Biscuit quad.
Bonio quad. I
think some animal rights activists might have some problems with that.
It's the greyhounds away from the rabbit, if you know what I mean.
Man tries to get dog's face cut up by a quadcopter by making it out of dog biscuit.
Dog fishing instead of cat fishing. You attach a line to the quad, fly it out, dog gets it.
Actual fishing might be interesting.
Dog fishing.
I want to make a flip flop fly. That'd be good. I want to do a flip flop fly.
Is that just?
Yeah, I wear
Tony's most beautiful alliteration yet. Like a flip flop fly.
Like a flip flop fly.
Yeah. Well, give me a flip flop.
Depending where you come from. I've made plenty of thongs fly.
For God's sake.
Sorry.
I want a copy of that.
Yeah, that's probably already on at least 10 Tyrannuses by now.
No. Oh,
Yeah, I need mine changed, Jack. I'm getting fed up of mine now.
Your girlfriend, is she not? She's not into it.
Oh, I'd put my thumb over every time I start. Thumb over the mic, quick.
That's
Well,
just a sign of
there's
fragile
now-
masculinity, Tony.
There's now a clip of me on Twitch saying that I'm gay, Mum.
Is there? I'm gonna
Yeah,
drop
in a
There's
Chinese
few other
accent.
clips as well.
The Chinese, yeah.
And there's now one on YouTube, thanks to what you just said.
Brilliant.
What I was trying to segue from Tony about the Ichi Mustang was that that Andy's been flying around a lot more fancy looking planes, slightly higher grade than the Ichi Mustang.
Yeah, the flying club that I joined has been open for a week, and we were allowed to go there. And it's been great to just follow some of these planes that they fly there. But of course, only been given a week. It's been like 8 weeks of pure sunshine. Wasn't able to fly whatsoever, and then 1 week. But yeah, no, it's been great. Yeah, I really want an EDF so badly. Yeah, and I got to fly around the EDF, lots of different planes. But it was fun practicing getting close to planes. I did have a collision, though, unfortunately.
Nice.
Sorry.
Oh,
What happened? What happened?
Got to get in there.
So my friend Phil had I think it was called a multiplex Fun Cub. It's quite an old plane, I think, from about 2012. And he stuck it in a knife edge because I told him to. Well, first of all, he was seeing if it did knife edge, and it did. But of course, with it being a Cub and it's got a dihedral on it, you stick it in a knife edge, and it slowly moves in a positive pitch when it's in a knife edge. So of course, as I'm flying alongside him, getting a great shot, this thing's moving closer towards me, and I just punched out. It was too late. But when I slowed it down, it's got a star on the wing, and I went bang straight into the star, and I managed to hit it twice somehow. I don't know how that happened. I got a little bit too close. So when it came to the EDF, tried to stay further away, but actually got a great shot because the EDF's got retracts on it, and I said to my friend, just tilt it to the side and put the gear down, and that shot looks fantastic. But I haven't put it anywhere yet. I don't know if I will, but I have to see.
Yeah, I think it's quite a cool series of videos that. With the it was. I wasn't really going to do anything with it, but then I was like, when you put some relaxing music to it, it was actually quite nice, and so I put a couple of the videos up, but not everything that I have been following because, don't want too much of the same sort of thing.
I'm sorry. This is just the chat is just having me in stitches at the minute. They're just constantly talking about the subject of the Biscuit Cod is going next level in the chat. This is
I
wonderful,
love
guys.
it when they just talk amongst themselves. It's quite good.
I like the idea of the wank sock quad or the crusty sock, as they
politically
correctly calling it. I might have a crack at that.
I wonder
got
How do you
loads
make
of stocks
a
laying around.
rigid, non-biological?
Well, funny you know how
Start.
I've been trying to repair the big skyhook from sheets of carbon fiber and that glue which ran out of it. Basically, the resin stuff.
Yoo-hoo Paul, are you talking about?
What's that called again? U-blocks in it or something? U-blocks, isn't it, or something? What? When you do that, the
non-Newtonian fluid, oobleck.
No, there's another name for it.
What are you talking about?
Like when you add resin to something and it becomes a solid object.
I don't know. And there's some sort of resin and some sort of hardener compound that you mix together. You can paint it on this carbon fiber sheet stuff, and thus Hang on.
Epoxy.
This
It is a
thing
type of
that I flew
epoxy,
ages
yeah.
ago and broke.
Oh, that's
What I
that
showed you this last week,
massive.
didn't I? Yeah, this is the massive one that,
Have you
that
redone
crashed
that
on the
yet?
Maiden. Yes. Look, in here,
Where's the
you see
bid?
this is carbon fibre now. That is
Ah.
solid. It's still looking absolutely horrendous. You see the big hole here, but you now can't shift it because of that resin and this carbon fibre sheeting inside that I applied very badly. It's as hard as rock. So if you apply the same thing to socks, then you end up with
What you're
a
planning on
solid
making
sock
there
base.
is cotton fiber reinforced plastic. Instead
If you
of
like.
carbon fiber reinforced plastic.
Yeah, we could do that. And then basically we end up with the most
Wait.
rigid set of 4 socks ever, which you can just like stick motors on and stuff.
I think Jack's got a
You
different
need a sock
method of
and you
making
need
them.
a flip flop so that you can have socks and sandals.
Yeah, socks and sandals flying. White
Great, it's a
socks,
Linus Tech Tips quad.
white socks, flip flops. That is going to have to be a thing.
But,
Could be a thing.
but I'd quite like, sort of going back to where we were, I'd quite like to see like more of the flying around scale stuff. I'd like to have that at like mini air show, like not just for the
Yeah. I mean,
for
can
the
you imagine any RC show, like a live feed from a quad chasing, so on a big screen or something like that? I could,
especially
be
like DJI kind of level would be really
well,
nice.
exactly.
you would have to crack the code before you were able to do, or pay them a lot of money probably until you could do that, or buy that transmitter. What's it called? I think it sticks a logo on it, as when you do it through the transmitter. I think it, what's that transmitter called again?
Make the transmitter fly.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
What, and hold the quad?
Yeah, use the quad. Make the quad into. Yeah, exactly. Do that.
I think another interesting project for you, somebody, instead of making something fly, have a manual quad. So forget the idea of a flight controller. Just have 4 controls and be able to move each one and see if you can get into a hover.
Jeez.
Just 4 throttles. Just use your feet, use your hands.
Oh, 4
Get
actual
it sorted, be
throttles.
fine.
I was
Easy.
thinking like just kind of super rates, but constantly. But yeah,
Oh.
be entertaining. I feel like it would need to be something to have it slow enough that you can actually respond quick enough to have it hover. I feel like it's got to be quite big. Which
Yeah, because that makes it less dangerous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Possibilities. All these exciting possibilities we can come up with.
The like helium balloon with a suspended quad underneath, and it's a bit slower.
That is an excellent segue, if you like, about world record speed planes suspending things underneath other things.
Yes, talking of things suspended underneath other things.
Let's talk about Rupert White or Roops, otherwise known as Omi Googly Bird. I think something like that is his YouTube handle. You guys will probably know his stuff if anybody's followed any of the FPV speed records. Roops has been sort of breaking it almost sort of singularly for years, and he was flying sort of 230 plus mile an hour on 6S fun jets. He's had a turbine version in the works for a long time. Not actually the first person to put a turbine on a fun jet, I hasten to add. But he basically got his maiden flight. And if you've ever seen Roops launch a plane before, it is something to behold, because the amount of torque that generates from a tiny prop on a fun jet spinning at a gazillion RPM, basically he froze it, it spins about 6-7 times, and he just looks at it and works out how to do it. He is an amazing line of sight flyer. I don't find line of sight flying exciting, but watching him fly what is a dot at 200 miles an hour coming down straight in front of you is something amazing. I'm quite a Rupert fan. Anyway, what he had to do to launch this thing, because you don't just hand launch a turbine, because that's a way of getting
because
killed.
of money.
And money. So he built quite a large quad to basically take it up, and then obviously started his turbine up, and then dropped his fun jet, and then pulled out of it, and then did his flight. So on his maiden flight, he reached 502 kilometers an hour, which is just over 300 miles an hour in an FPV flight. So
mental.
that is now the new record.
Can we get a link
There's
to
footage
that?
of that.
Let me get the link, because it's a really good video. It's worth watching.
Because when you mentioned it, I typed it and nothing came up. But I imagine with a username like that, I didn't have much chance of finding it.
Roops doesn't. He's another one of these people that just does not get enough views on his stuff, because the stuff he does is always amazing. He was at funny story actually. He was at Mini Ash Show 4, was it? And I was writing that article for which magazine was it? RCM and something.
RCM Mini.
Yeah. So I wrote an article about, and it had the tagline of sympathy for the devil, which I didn't do. And they asked me to talk to sort of established flying people to find out if they were upset about quads. And the funniest thing about it is, when I talked to that guy who was head of the Spitfire Club, I said, were you concerned at all about any of the safety elements? He said, the quads were fine. It was just that guy with the insane planes, which was Roops. Because if you've heard these things, they are amazing. 6S on a tiny prop is ridiculous. He also has a 6S Vampire EDF, and that sounds like a turbine because it spins at such a rate. It's really worth a watch. Everyone should watch that one. So he's going to obviously continue to fly that, and we'll see what else he gets from it. If you watch him, often he has to use like a tracker when he's doing these speed records, because you run out of field really quickly when you're doing 300 miles an hour. It's like,
I bet.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But he's
cool.
luckily found a friendly farmer with a bigger field.
Yes, that was jammy. I think he went with the basics of, he didn't say, hi, I'd like to try and get a world record on an insane turbine jet. He was just like, hello, I fly model planes, and I was just wondering if I could use your field. It's quite small.
Holy. Oh my god. That speed just climbs.
It's crazy, isn't it?
There we go.
Was he
Reaction video now.
was he flying line of sight or FPV when he was actually flying FPV?
That was
can't.
FPV he was flying there.
But his problem was that it was running out of.
Yeah, you instantly run out of range,
It's
like
the end
so
of
quick.
600 milliwatts.
Got a pinned
You would have
comment from Stan.
You would have to have some. You'd have to have some pretty serious rates on a switch. When you're doing 300, you'd need to reduce your rates to like 10% of the standard throw.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you just rip the surfaces off them. They just destroy
his
themselves.
kit list is amazing. The amount he spends on servos, because if you realise you want to move it tiny amounts really accurately, but the amount of pressure you've got against those wing surfaces when you're just doing that is just tiny. So it's a big money build, and anybody who's had to buy a turbine before also knows that's serious money as well.
I just know a bit of this from some of the DLGs I've got. It's also about having the resolution down at those very, very fine movements, because reducing the rates on a servo is one thing, but then if you're going to like a few percent of what is a servo that's doing so many numbers of steps, when you actually get down here, the resolution for the new movement might be enough degrees that it's really janky to fly. So I can only imagine just the servos that he used were probably crazy expensive.
Oh yeah.
Looks like he's using Dragon Link as well.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he's Dragon Link in 2.4, I think. But yeah, previous ones, when he's done any distance, he's used antenna tracking because it shifts at such a rate that it gets far away very
when I was flying that DJI thing at 124 mile per hour. I mean, that was just insane. I mean,
That was moving across some fields quick, wasn't it?
that's 55 meters per second, if you can think about it. So you know how far 100 meters is. That's 50. So
What's
what
that in
I
miles
did,
an hour?
Adam?
What's that in miles an hour?
Oh, what I did, 124, yeah, but and I covered like 2 fields in the space of like 2 seconds, you know. So I can't imagine what that kind of speed. It must have been so scary.
Little random mad fact that I read the other day. You know, like lockdown, everything's been very quiet, and like the roads have been very quiet. Would you like to have a guess at the speed? The top speed that people have gotten up to and have gotten caught?
I think 201. Someone went past from Peace Pottage from Gatwick to Peace Pottage. 201 mile an hour.
Oh,
that's on video.
During lockdown. No,
Yeah,
have a guess.
It was during lockdown.
Each.
It's got to be a supercar, probably 250, I'd say.
No, you guys are going too crazy. It was the person got 151 miles an hour.
Is that it?
And got caught. Yeah.
I mean, wow.
54, I think it was. It's like, yeah.
I've never done that kind of speed. Have you, Andy?
No, I've never even gone over 204 mile per hour.
Oh.
Where's that disclaimer again?
It always has to be when Andy speaks, doesn't it?
Andy, when are you going to get your DJI Air unit on a fixed wing, and preferably meet up with Painless and like go following each other's wings round some hills?
Yeah, because he's got his on his mini drac now, hasn't he?
I was going to say,
try not to touch the trip tips.
More likely to see Painless do it. I just don't have the space to keep planes. I wish I did, but I don't. So yeah, I'm looking forward to
outside locker in your car, under your car.
You need money for that, which I used to have. But
next time Lee tells you he wants to give you a plane, accept it, but insist it stays in his garage.
Can I keep it in your garage, please? I think the reason he's passing them on to me is to get them out of there, not to keep them.
So it's just a one-day thing. Just get one.
Yeah, I want to. I'd love to do it on like an EDF, something quick, something like that. Yeah. So
you have an EDF.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, from the surprise box.
Quality.
But do you know what? I found out that's 12 years old. That EDF.
See,
Timeless
imagine how much
quality.
it must have cost.
It's gonna make a good whiskey.
and I found the source from that as well. By the way, I found the source of that because I found the person. I found someone who knew the person, should I say? Anyways,
well, it's fairly well known, I think.
Oh, fair dues, yeah.
Are you wearing new headphones?
Who?
You wearing new headphones?
He's got the same ones as MJ, hasn't he?
You got Bayer Dynamics. Right?
He's got the fancy ones that Ed told him to get.
Yeah.
Are they new?
90 Pros.
Oh, right, yeah, Bayer Dynamic. Yeah, they're brilliant.
Ones MJ's got on that.
They're very good.
Yeah. They're like they're
super comfy.
Yeah, they're actually they're designed to be very flat, or as we say in the music industry, very honest sounding.
Yeah.
Unlike Bose headphones and things that tend to put a big smiley face on the EQ to make people go, "Oh, it's got great bass." It's like, yes, but that's not what makes music good music.
Yeah, and you can't mix with those headphones either. You need a flat.
Yeah, you need a flat response. Yeah. Very, very, very true.
Yeah, I just like them because they're comfy and only £99.
That's not bad, actually.
Yeah, and every part of those Bayer Dynamics are also very well known because you can replace every single part of those. You can buy any part to fix them, which is why they're in studios all over the UK and the world for that reason. That and they sound nice and flat.
And a reminder, if anyone wants any extra content of listening to a lot of talk about musical equipment and sound equipment, then Andy's and NJ's AMAs are available on the Discord and on Patreon. So they're there.
No, not available on Discord anymore. We take them down, and they should be taken down. Do we leave them there?
I don't know.
Probably.
I think they're only available on the. They should be only available on the Patreon. Now, if you were there live, you could watch it.
Yeah.
Or you could ask someone who did watch it and pass the URL. That's one way of doing it.
They're getting passed around as bootleg copies and dodgy VHS tapes and car boot sales.
Recording it off the radio.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the day.
Totally love that.
On my mum's Unicom radio. Anyone remember Unicom? No? Okay.
That's like pre-Balfour,
Oh,
right?
fair do. Was that the one just after Morse code?
Pretty much. It had little red flashing lights. And well good.
It's the one with the flags, isn't it?
That's it.
But I think it's time to call it there tonight. Jack, do you want to do the honours?
No worries. Don't forget, I've got to whip your little bums and be like, yo, bonus pod for last month. So let's record that after. Thank you. You've been listening to Let's Drone It Out. I hope it's cheered you all up. Big, massive shout out to all our patrons for keeping this show going, and Frank from killing us all. And thanks for everyone who's donated to us. It was nice to light off some fireworks again. You've been joined by my ex-wife, Tony.
Bonjour.
The sexiest man alive, NJ Tech.
It's just still not comfortable saying goodbye after that. It's just so weird. Goodbye, everyone. See
You
next week.
are... No, he sorted out my sound setup.
I did, yes. And we
Have
can
you
take that in a very
broken it again
literal
yet?
term, can't we?
Yep. Everyone's favourite curry kitten.
Goodbye.
Everyone's favourite liability, Andy RC.
Good evening.
Hope you feel... Are you feeling all right? You feeling a bit better?
I'm all right, man.
You laughed a bit. Andrew / Frank.
Bye.
And I've been Bright to Fly. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night. See you on Patreons.
Bye.